Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tasia Podcast, a podcast that hosts dedicated leaders influencing social transformation in their communities. I'm your host, Joseph Lajore, a teacher, author, and director of Samburu Empowerment Network Organization. In today's show, I host Maryline Lesingiran. She is a finance expert, program officer at the Samburu Empowerment Network Organization, and also an advocate for education and gender issues in Samburu County. Maryline, welcome to Tasia Podcast.
Thank you.
Today is International Days for Women, and I'm privileged to actually have you in Tasia Podcast. The International Women's Day is actually celebrated all over the world, celebrated every year on March 8th. And this day shed light on women achievement, various communities around the world, having in mind maybe the work that you are doing in the community to ensure that the welfare of women in Samburu community is taken care of. So I saw that it's really good to host you today in Tasia Podcast so that we can celebrate this day together. To remind you, the topic or the theme of this year's International Days for Women is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. Gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. So everything that we'll be talking about will revolve around the achievement of women and also how gender inequality or the extent at which there is gender disparity in your community, that is in Samburu County.
Okay, my name is Maryline Lesingiran, a finance professional and a program coordinator in through the organization or rather personally reaching them so that they can be enlightened and bridge this gap of gender inequality.
What is the state of gender inequality in Samburu County?
Generally, I can say it's more biased rather than being equal. For one reason or the other, okay, they may say you don't qualify, or you don't have the qualifications, or rather you have a family, so you don't go to these meetings every now and then. But in the real sense, ladies can deliver. Okay, I can agree. Not most of them have reached the highest level of education, but for the few who has already been there, the chances are very few because they are already few. That lowers their chances. And then now there is this culture of not believing that a lady can lead and success be reached or gotten there. So they are actually hindered. For the managerial positions, there are very few of them. When it comes to leadership, our culture, there is the cultural factors, the attitude, they really prefer men. They believe men can deliver. So that again puts the lady down. That says very well that it's unequal. Inequality is more there than standing for the ladies. So this attitude of saying we want men to lead, a woman cannot lead, we have not seen any in Samburu doing that again limits their capability of being there. They are being undermined, the ability to deliver. So our culture actually puts the lady so low. And again, when it comes to education, we see them preferring educating boys than girls. When it comes to resources, they say due to the limited resources we have, we actually take boys first. So ladies comes next. Okay. So if the resources are not there or not enough, actually the lady is being left behind. Okay. So that actually makes it more unequal.
Maybe when we talk about the status of gender inequality in Samburu County, maybe you say that there is a wide gap.
Yeah, when it comes to men, there is a very wide gap, but actually ladies are stepping forward to bridge it. They're actually struggling to get the education so that they can be equal. Even if it's not equal, there is still a gap, but some of them are really struggling to be there.
If I may interrupt you, for example, maybe when you talk about leadership, so that maybe we can have a clear picture of the extent at which there is gender inequality. Like if we talk about leadership positions, elective positions, maybe in the county level, that is the MCA, the Member of County Assembly, and also we come to maybe the governor position and the MP position as we go, as we climb maybe the elective positions ladder. How many women do you think are elected in the MCA position in your community?
I think there is none. For now, there is none. There is no lady who has been elected as an MCA so far. And not that there are no capable ladies who can do that. They just trust men to do that. So they elect.
So before they elect, because I also understand that, for example, if for you to be elected, you must show an interest. You must actually show that there is an interest. You trust yourself, especially maybe as a woman, and then you take yourself through the process that is required, and then you bring yourself to the ballot and you campaign and all that. Do they do that? Do women also believe in themselves and they take up the mantle and they enter into active politics in the community, so that maybe now can be able to understand that the community is actually in the favor of men rather than women?
Okay, yes, ladies take the challenge. They do step and try, but most of them are discouraged at an early level. So you find at long last, it's only men who are standing there to compete.
When we talk about discouraged at the early level, then you mean that maybe when women want to venture into politics, what are some of who discourages them? Is it maybe their husbands? Is it maybe other members? Is it other women, or the fear of stigma outside there in the community? What discourages them at the early level?
What I can say is that it's the society that scares them, not really the family. Yes, the man can ask, where do you think you are going? That you'll be going to those meetings in Nairobi and leave me here in Samburu. So you see, they start discouraging you from the family level, yes. And then it goes to the community. This thing of saying a woman has to do home chores, has to support the family at the background level so that the man can go so far, that discourages them. So the man or the husband starts discouraging from the home level. Then go back to the society again. There is that stigma that they ask, since when did a lady lead in this village? So where do you think you are going to lead? So that discourages them. You start again feeling like you are the only lady studying challenging 5 men or other. So the lady just steps down with time.
Okay, so
it's not like they are not capable.
Okay, so it is the stigma, is it? What do you think about when you talk about the attitude as having the capability to lead and also to challenge men maybe in those positions, the leadership positions? Do you think it's coming up, or something that's positive, or something that you say it's still down there in lower level?
Generally, what I can say is ladies are stepping up. They are now much better than before. So they are in a position to vie and get elected. Most of them are enlightened now. So that small being discouraged at a lower level is really going down, because you cannot listen to somebody. Those days they will ask you, men are educated, they have those certificates, they have status. So now ladies are educated, they are much enlightened, they really know their rights, and they advocate for equality. So they are now stepping up to take the challenge. Most likely, if the society is going to drop that attitude that a woman cannot lead, the equality is maybe is going to be addressed. Now that the challenge should be 50-50. That now will prefer the best person, but then for the inequality, okay, we are trying to balance it.
That is in the space of leadership, is it? That we've seen that there is a gap. Yeah. There is actually a gap, but at least something is being done because women are coming out. For my understanding, I know that now at this stage now, at this time, we have one MP who is a woman MP, who is a woman who is elected maybe in this county, is it? So I think that's one trend that shows the positive part when it comes to bridging the gender inequality in leadership space. What about when you go to, what are some of the evidences of gender inequality in your community when it comes to education?
As I said before, when it comes to education, for all those days before, they preferred educating a boy more than a girl. They see a man is coming back to the society to lead a family. The man is they take man as the head. So they prefer taking the boy to school, leaving the girl. But okay, for some families, yes, they try to take both of them. But right now, I think education is balanced. Ladies are merging more than men right now. They are really proceeding with their education past. That is the Form 4 level. They proceed. So again, that comes to trying to balance that gender inequality, or rather trying to cover it. Men are more educated. I mean, when it comes to number, but it doesn't mean that ladies are not there. They are there, and you can't compare now and some a decade ago.
Okay, just to interrupt, maybe what about when you compare the statistics of the number of maybe girls who are educated maybe in the urban center and also in the rural center? Is it the same? Is it because you've said that at least now the number is coming up? Girls are being taken to school. Is it only in urban areas or both in urban and rural areas?
In rural areas, they are still the number is still down for many reasons. For the urban, they are coming up, but for the rural, the number is quite low due to some reasons. Their lifestyle doesn't support how they go to school. The pastoralists, that is an evidence that they keep moving and they don't care about other kids.
So if maybe, so that one brings us to the next question of what are some of the barriers to girls' education in the community now, that the barrier is still, the gap is still there. And when also we compare the urban and the rural area, there is still also the gap, because in the rural areas, at least the number of girls who are being enrolled and who complete the circle of education is still higher compared to rural areas. As per the statistics which are there, you can find the statistics maybe in the internet or also maybe in the education department of the county level. So what are some of these barriers that makes maybe girls still lag behind when it comes to enrollment and retention in school?
Okay, to answer your previous question, yes, in urban areas or other towns, the percentage of ladies going to school is almost 99%, or rather 100%. Only that some of them drop along the way. But for the rural, I think the percentage is still below 50. For the barriers, there is this challenge of early marriages. The girl goes to school up to standard 6, rather nowadays grade 6. Then the girl drops out to get married to somebody. That drops their number, but that mostly again happens in the rural or remote areas. Town is almost out of that now. The other barrier is the preference, our attitude of preferring one child over another. That's still a barrier, because if the girl is not stubborn and insists to go to school, or rather the mother is soft, then it means the girl will drop, or rather will not go. They will wear those beads, and then you are told take care of the animals or home chores. They prefer to use the girl for the home chores. Leaving them at home is a whole barrier to education. And after that, child grows to some level, they just refuse to go to school even if you force them to do, because they see their age mates are already somewhere. That again affects ladies so much more than men. So that's a barrier. Their lifestyle again is another barrier. Being a pastoralist, they value animals more than education. That again leaves the urban area being more educated. For the children, that is for the girls in urban areas go to school, and the other ones are divided depending with the parents' attitude. Their ability to take care of you will depend whether you are going to school, you are going to drop, or rather you won't go at all. That is from the word go. So that's a barrier in Samburu, in most of the remote areas.
that one takes us to, or rather that one brings us to the measures being taken to ensure that maybe the gender gap is actually reduced in Samburu County. Maybe, and we've talked about two spaces. We've talked about leadership, the gap in leadership and governance. We've talked about the gender gap in education space, and what are some of the measures maybe that are being taken, rather by either NGOs or the community members or the government, to ensure that the gender mainstreaming is done, is girls, or rather women, are given their position in the society. Maybe you can just talk about some of the gap that you have seen, or those ones maybe that yourself also you're taking part in.
I come from a certain village where there is a norm. They have made it to be a norm that when a girl finishes the O level, after Form 4, you are done with your education. They consider you are mature, you are ready to get married, start a family, and that's the end of your education. And many girls drop. That is now, it's like dropout, because when you compare to the urban areas, a Form 4 leaver is not considered as an educated person. Yes, you know how to write, speak, write, and read, but at that level, you are hindered with so many barriers when it comes to profession, or rather getting a better job. They get married, that marks the end of the education, and the rest followed. They made it to be a norm. So yes, that can be a barrier, but they don't consider it as a dropping out of school, because it's normal to them. So sensitizing them, that is mentoring those who get already married them, that is the community, on the importance of education, letting girl child proceed with the education will open so many opportunities to them, and that will not again, it will reduce that oppression of maybe saying a lady cannot lead, a lady cannot be a leader in the village, you cannot lead men, men are below you, you are there as a leader. So it reduces so many things. That is mentorship, or rather sensitizing the community. For the young ones, the ones who are in primary school, secondary school, once they see those who are ahead of them proceeding, that again becomes a norm. And then that gender inequality will reduce with time. Again, training the local, that is those who have not gone to school. Most of them are conservatives, but they are really eager to know what is really happening in the modern world. So training them again improves that. Those are some of the steps we are taking to improve that in those villages, or rather in Samburu.
Empowering women is empowering humanity. You know, this is a day for women, and we celebrate maybe their achievement and how they are hardworking. Because when it comes to maybe our community, and you see how women are really struggling to at the family level and all that. So, but nowadays, I think I've seen also another kind of women empowerment or measure that is being taken, whereby many organizations now in Samburu County are taking up some steps, like empowering women economically through forming groups, women groups. They call them either women group, whereby they train them on entrepreneurship, on savings, then supporting them with some stipend, whereby they can start their business, and then they contribute some of the money to the common kitty, whereby it encourages them to save, and then when they save, maybe they can share that amount of money. I think that's one step that I've seen. It's actually positive, and it is a current trend, even in the rural community, because whenever we are working within the community, we see these women, they come together. Especially I've seen it in a Boma project, whereby they come and train them on some kind of financial literacy, then they give them some money, and then they start businesses. I think that's also another measure to add actually on what you have said on empowering women. Are there some activities that maybe normally you do it directly to support maybe women in different spaces to reduce the gender gap in the community?
Yeah, actually, that speaking to those young ladies, rather mentoring the young and upcoming ones is a step to nurture them. That is to come up strongly, so they won't drop somewhere along the way before they actually reach where they would like to be. And that has been a step. That's how I can reach them. Mentoring them, not necessarily physically, but even virtually, and reach those who can as well educate the rest in our community.
So when it comes to education and mentorship, I know it plays a key role, especially in rural communities, because when we talk about mentorship, most of those girls who are in rural communities, they lack what we call the father figure or the mother figure in the family level, because most of the parents maybe are somehow, maybe they're illiterate or they don't understand maybe the importance of education. So when the community have experts like you going back to give back to the community through mentorship program, I think it's actually a very, very good initiative, because it gives them hope that at least despite of all these challenges that they are undergoing, they can reach that level, because you are one of them. You've been in the community, some of them know you, some of them are your relatives, and you come from the same villages. So I think mentorship is very, very important, and I cannot actually overlook it, because taking that initiative of always working with them and then showing them the way to actually take up education very seriously is very, very important. So any other achievements in the community, especially in directly going to women, especially in leadership positions?
As you said, some of the organizations try to strengthen ladies, that is, I mean women, in terms economically, like the Boma one, that makes them a bit empowered, and they will not rely so much on men. That has given them power to stand even in the village. Like in a committee, you find a lady being the chair, but the committee is not it doesn't just comprise of women. It's all, both men and women, but the chair lady, you can hear it's a lady already. So that actually gives them hope. And then again, it's so easy to learn from one of your own. Like things are really, there is a chance to be, there is hope. That is, if someone has achieved it and raised from this place, and now the person is in this position, it's easy for them to accept, and they know that it's they are capable.
I've seen in Samburu County women-led organizations. For example, there are organizations which are major organizations in Samburu County that are founded and are being led by women. For example, maybe the Samburu Girls Foundation, led by women from our community. So I think those are some of the achievements, because taking up the leadership role despite of all the challenges. On my side, I can cite that one as an example of women in this community or in rural community, especially in communities like the Samburu community, whereby there is that kind of marginalization, because the community is a patriarchal society. So when we talk about women taking up or leading up the path, we celebrate women like Dr. Claire, who is leading the Samburu Girls Foundation. In the community nowadays, you see that women are even more hardworking than men. And I can say that one because I've seen that every time when you see maybe people who are struggling maybe to make sure that the family is sustained, I think they are women.
Women can lead, just that they are not given opportunities to do that. The biasness is really quite high, but they struggle. Before they give up, they really struggle and try. They do try. Despite all that, they try, and some of them are leading already. So they ought to be given chances, not to be discriminated or rather undermined in the name of culture that has no basis. If a woman qualifies, let her be there, struggle, try and find that position. But it's still quite hard.
Despite of all the challenges, at least they are struggling. And even now when we talk about the politics which is there, I think I've seen a number of women coming up strongly for elective positions, coming out. And like before, when only you can have only one woman maybe who is automatically vying for the position, one or two, but the number is increasing. That's also another positive trend whereby you can see that women are taking up their spaces in the community. This year's International Women's Day celebrates those achievements of women now coming out strongly. So, and maybe we also encourage those ones who are still out there and they still doubt that maybe they cannot make it, that it is true. They have the capability, they have the qualities to actually compete for any position or be anything that they feel to be in the community. Just to wrap up our conversation, maybe what are some of your last words or the fellow women pertaining this day and pertaining the gender inequality? Because as the topic says, that gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow.
One, I would like to congratulate the ladies in Samburu. Today you can go to a university and find the number going up. Actually, you can compare the number of men and the ladies in the university. Okay, yes, they may be same, but after graduating that first degree, the ladies are really trying to advance after that. That is a congratulations to them. They are really trying to show that yes, after some years, we will be almost equally there. Demanding, we have rights, we know our rights, so we will be there in big numbers. Actually, that's a good step to them because the upcoming ones will see what's going on. The society is changing. They may say it's a Western culture, but then fine. I really feel so happy about that. So many of them are graduating from different positions, not for the first degree. So that shows that men have relaxed somewhere, and yes, that equality will be somehow achieved one day. For the community, what they can use as a shield to the inequalities that are here and there. First, they have to drop that attitude of saying a lady cannot do something until you drive the lady towards the city to go and find a chance just because you don't trust her. They have to drop it. Ladies do. They are capable of what a man can do. And now when it comes to education, you are more qualified than that man, then I don't think they will have a reason to shield you or bar you from doing what you want. So they can use education as one of their main shield. They educate ladies just as they do to men. No biasness. And that will make society a bit balanced.
I'm so much privileged to have a conversation with you. Continue to do the work that you're doing. Continue to have that belief that it is possible, that women are capable, that if given an opportunity, they can do as much as men can do, or even better. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation at Tasia Podcast. We believe that you are not going to stop from what you have achieved now, but you are going to continue to inspire other women to see the possibility and to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you and have a good evening.
For more updates, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Tasia Podcast.